Hello and welcome back to Sports Talk with Dad. The NFL season has officially begun with a lot of question marks. First off, who is the best quarterback in each division and which quarterback has the most pressure this year? Will Devante Adams actually have a better year now that he's left the Hall of Fame quarterback? And would the Packers honestly have just been better off letting Aaron Rodgers go someplace else? That and more on Sports Talk with Dad today. My name is Kyle, and as always, I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man who is alive when people actually listen to baseball games on the radio, my dad, Tim.
First of all, A officially started?
A officially started. It's got an A+ rating, so you have to put the A on there. Leave my accent alone. All right?
Okay. I'm not talking about an accent. I'm talking about the fact that the word starts with an O.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I do have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear Vin Scully? Was he still
I
broadcasting?
really didn't. I mean, he was definitely still broadcasting, but I didn't listen to Dodger games.
Oh, but he didn't do just Dodger games. He was on TV. He was like the voice of a generation. Did golf. He did football. He did it all. He was just... My first recollection of Vin Scully was the night that Henry Aaron hit his 715th. Because I was watching it on TV. They were counting it down, and they were following him for each and every game.
Right.
And what he said was just amazing. You know, something, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but something to the effect that a nation is watching a black man from the South chase an all-time record. It was one of the greatest lines because it kind of broke down and put a mirror up to the country and goes, yeah, folks, a black man is breaking a great record, but it's an American breaking a great record, and we should just celebrate it. Henry Aaron was my hero growing up, but Vin Scully was the voice of TV when I was watching sports when I was growing up. He was just amazing. He did the 86 Masters. He was on there when Nicklaus won his last one. He was just an unbelievable one. He was calling the Kirk Gibson home run. He called it on TV. The only bad thing about it is when you go back and have a chance to listen to Jack Buck calling
Jack Buck had the better call.
It was a better call. And Milo Hamilton on the Henry Aaron call.
Right.
He had a better call. But I think that was because it was on radio.
Right.
And baseball is meant for radio because it is painting the picture. I mean, we're blessed in Milwaukee. We get to listen to Bob Uecker, who is one of the icons. I mean, people are going to say, well, you're local. Well, if you've listened to Uecker as long as I have, he's as good as anybody in the country.
Sure.
And he is one of the best pure baseball commentators that you're ever going to hear.
When you think of baseball commentators, you think of Bob Uecker because of what he did in cinema with
Major League. But he wasn't always that funny. I mean, his stories are hilarious, but he calls a great game, and you know what's going on when you're watching it or when you're listening to it. Sorry.
I always said growing up in here being a Cubs fan, if I was listening to a Cubs Brewer game, if I wanted to hear what was going on in the game, I listened to Bob Uecker. If I just wanted to not know what's going on but have a good time, I turned on Harry Carey.
Well, Harry, when he was first, I used to be able to listen to KMOX. And he was unbelievably good at calling.
Did you say Camel X?
KMOX.
All right, I just want to point out, you make fun of the way I said something, and I just
raced
said
through
Camel
it.
X.
No, I said KMOX. I just said it quick.
You just said Camel X again.
KMOX in St. Louis. They had the Cardinal games, one of those powerful radio stations, and I could pick him up. And he was outstanding at calling baseball games back in the day. Later on, when he didn't know if it was a home run or if it was going to be caught by the shortstop, it was a little more fun to listen to. But Vin Scully, just one of the unbelievable announcers in my lifetime, probably the greatest to have ever called a baseball game or a sporting event. And sadly, he passes at the age of 94.
Yeah, lived a nice long life. I mean, I always say I never feel bad for people in their 90s that pass away. Like,
no, they should celebrate
I mean,
their life.
I'll celebrate the life for sure, but You got all the years you could ask for at 94 years old. So it is sad that a legend was gone. I pulled up the call, and it is a great call. It's a black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol. What a marvelous moment for baseball. What a marvelous moment for Atlanta and the state of Georgia. What a marvelous moment for the country and the world. It was a great call.
It was a great call.
I would play it, but I don't want to get copyrighted.
Well,
so
yeah,
I'm just
don't
saying,
do that. But and then when he called the Kirk Gibson home run, he made the call. It was a home run, and then there was nothing for a minute before he did in a series of improbables, the impossible just happened.
Yeah, he needed time to think about it.
Probably. I don't know. I'm not commenting, but he let it just hang there, which was great, and let people just watch what was going on. He was really great. I think one of his other lines is talking about death was, "Don't be sad when the person dies. Be happy for the life that he lived."
Yeah.
In Vin's case, absolutely true. He broadcast the Dodgers for 67 years. He started in Brooklyn, took over for Ed Barber. You just don't see people sticking around that long, with the exception of Bob Uecker.
Uecker will die in the booth.
Probably.
Vin Scully died a year or two.
It wasn't.
I think he was there for the World Series team, and then that was his last year.
Probably, and I think he did like a guest inning on one of the broadcasts recently.
Came back in a couple of them.
So
it's like Ron Santo. Ron Santo was in the booth when, he was there till the very end.
Mm-hmm. Al Michaels is another one. He's probably the greatest announcer we have today that's left of all of those announcers. But
yeah, I mean, Bob Costas is still around though too.
Yeah,
Bob Costas is great.
great.
You still got a couple good ones, and I like a lot of the announcers that are coming up now, especially on the football side. Greg Olson's great to listen to. Robert Griffin III is great to listen to. You got Tony Romo out there now. I got to assume Phil Simms is going to get another chance. I always liked listening to Phil Simms.
He was all right, but
Not everybody did.
Baseball is meant for radio, and we don't have those voices in radio anymore because every game's on TV.
Right.
And I used to love listening to him laying in bed, listening to Uecker and Harry Carey when I could get him in. So
they're made out of straw and goose feathers. Beds.
No, your grandparents didn't have that. I would have died if that would have been the case. I couldn't breathe.
You're allergic
I'm
to
so
everything.
allergic to that stuff.
I mean, is there anything you're not allergic to?
Dogs anymore?
Not anymore. Not
used
anymore.
to be.
You did used to be though.
I had to think about it. There's a few things I'm not.
That's fair.
As long as I can breathe, I figure I'm doing well.
That's fair. Hey, that's the rest of us, man. As long as the breath is still coming, the heart is still pumping, we're good to go. Football has officially started. Training camps are in full session. You have fans at every single training camp except for the Washington Commanders. I don't think anybody showed up for that one.
The Hall of Fame game, I believe.
Hall of Fame game's coming up this weekend.
I think it's tonight, actually. We're recording on Thursday. So I believe it is tonight, and then the induction ceremony is this weekend.
Yep, that's right. The induction ceremony is this weekend. The game is the Thursday before. You're right. It's a great season. I did want to get into a couple of things, and I mentioned them at the start of the show. And first and foremost, I really want to start with the conversation you and I have been having a lot of, which is Devante Adams, one of my all-time favorite players, a class act in the NFL, who just decided, I want to move back to Nevada and into Vegas, where I'm from. The question is, how's this going to work out? Because you go to a Hall of Fame quarterback who only really looked in your direction. So if anything, I think this move benefits Aaron Rodgers more than Devante Adams. I've said before, you don't get better without having a Hall of Fame wide receiver, but we need Rodgers to look someplace else at some point.
At some point. I mean, I would just say, why didn't you ask Greg Jennings, Javon Walker? How did it work out for them when they left Hall of Fame quarterbacks and went to other teams?
But looking at those specific examples, Greg Jennings went to Christian Ponder.
True.
Javon Walker went to whoever the quarterback of the time was for the Raiders.
Is it the Raiders or Denver?
And then Denver as well,
Yeah.
whoever the quarterback was for Denver at the time. He played for both. So that's a big difference and a much larger drop-off than it is going Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr.
It's a large drop-off going from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr.
It's a drop-off. Don't get me wrong.
It's a cliff.
But it's not as big of a drop-off as Greg Jennings going from Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers to Christian Ponder, who's only in the league for 3 years.
No, that's like jumping off the moon and hoping you hit the earth.
Right,
But
exactly. Exactly. And even if you do end up hitting the earth, you're still going to crash and burn at the
it's
bottom.
going to be bad.
Derek Carr is, in my opinion, always has been an underrated quarterback. I mean, we'll really see what he's capable of now. Last year, he had a lot of turmoil when it came to his coach. He had new offense and then had to get used to it the second half of the year. This is really his chance to shine.
He's a top 15 quarterback.
He's a top 10 quarterback. You had him ranked in your top 10 when we did ratings a couple weeks ago.
About the bottom of the top 10.
Still top 10.
Top 10, yeah, okay. He's a nice quarterback.
He's a good quarterback. He's a starting quarterback in this league.
Exactly. He's a good quarterback. He's going to be looking at Adams all the time, even more than Rodgers did.
He's got Renfro there too, and he's got Waller also. I mean, he has more targets than Rodgers did last year.
He's going to be looking at Adams
a lot of the time.
He is. You know, I still wish Green Bay would have signed Adams last summer. Looking back on it with, 2020 glasses, I don't know why they didn't, but they obviously had their reasons. Losing him was big, and it's going to be a great boon. Look, do I think the Raiders are going to be a much, much better team? Absolutely. Do I think Adams is going to have the year he had last year? Probably not as good, but it's still going to be a great year. I think this might be the one case where the Packers miss him more. The Packers are going to miss him more than the Raiders are going to enjoy having him.
I agree, especially depending how Sammy Watkins and the new rookie Christian Watson turn out in Green Bay.
Get him on the field first.
Get him on the field to see what they do. Here's my opinion on it. Do I think Devante Adams is going to have a better year than he did with the last two with Aaron Rodgers? No, I don't. But I don't think it's going to be because of the drop-off in quarterback. I think it's going to do more with the fact that there are more weapons on the receiving side of the ball, especially with the tight end that they have, than there ever was in Green Bay. Green Bay had Tanyan, who scored a couple touchdowns, but other than that, didn't really do much. Then was hurt all last year, and then you had nobody at tight end for Green Bay.
Right.
Your top receiver after Adams was putting up 400 or 500 yards. Adams was doubling, sometimes tripling other receivers on his own team in yards that season. You're not going to see that
make no mistake,
in Vegas. It's just not going to happen.
Green Bay is going to be a running team this year. Vegas is going to be able to open up their offense.
Yeah, we're going to definitely rely more on the running backs, which, again, the Raiders also have. The Raiders are a good team.
They're a very good team.
They have a good running back. They have a solid tight end, a top 3 tight end in this league. They just got the best receiver in the game. Plus, they have another Pro Bowler in Renfro on that team as well. Derek Carr is going to have to do something special here.
This is their chance. But look at the division they're in, and I know we're going to talk about that here in a minute. If he were in any other division, I'd say he was going to run away with it, and they were going to dominate, and they were playoff bound, number 1 seed maybe. But they're not in any other division.
It's a tough division.
It's a very tough division.
It's a tough division, and we're going to see which quarterback has the most pressure here in just a moment. But before we do that, let us know in the comments below what you think. If Devante Adams is going to have a better year, both of us say no, but for different reasons. You say because of the drop-off in quarterback. I'm saying not because of the drop-off in quarterback, but because of all the extra weapons the Raiders have. Devante Adams still going to have a 1,000-yard season. He's still going to get his touchdowns, but it's going to be less because there are more options. And those are going to get really opened up now that he's a part of that team. But you let us know what you think in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it. Before we get into which quarterback has the most...
I'm smiling because you actually remembered to say that this time.
Yeah, I always forget.
Yeah, you do. Go ahead.
I'm trying something new.
Happy.
I'm hitting my brain. I'm actually awake this show, which is nice.
Oh, that's good. Let's tell everybody who watches. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been asleep the last week.
I admitted on the last show I was tired.
You were.
I was exhausted. I am very much more awake today, and my brain's kicking in, which is good. One thing I've actually been reading about and something I've been taking more. You know me, I'll take certain supplements. I take creatine every day because it's good for the brain, good for the muscles. I try and take my vitamins every day. Just help keep me going.
Sure.
I've been doing a lot, and Jake Plummer's actually big on this, which is mushrooms, not psychedelic, none of that stuff, but with actual like mushrooms, like lion's mane and reishi mushrooms.
He's taking lion's mane?
Yeah, he actually has a mushroom farm
Wait a
out in
minute.
Colorado, north of Denver.
Isn't that lion abuse? Don't take their manes. Leave them alone.
God, I hate you sometimes.
I mean, let them. They're born free. Let them run in.
I actually try and have a real scientific discussion on this show, and this is why we don't get taken seriously.
I didn't know it was a type of mushroom. I'm sorry.
It is a mushroom. No, and reishi is actually a mushroom. It tastes disgusting, but they got powder that you can get as well, and I've been taking more of that, and it's actually helped a lot with energy. Some of it may be placebo, so don't crucify me here. I understand that, but who cares? Like, as long as it's working, who cares if it's placebo or not? But there's a lot of health benefits to just eating like mushrooms and any type of fungi in general. It's been amazing what they've been able to find out.
And this is a serious question, so I'm not making a joke. But do you eat the mushroom, or is it a powder and you mix it with something?
So I have the powder and mix it with something because you can't drink it on its own or eat it on its own because you'll vomit.
Oh, okay.
It's really bitter. It's really bad. But you can just get the regular mushroom and cook it as well. Lion's mane is actually a really good mushroom to have on steak or anything else like that.
What do you mix it with?
The best way I've had it is with like a hot chocolate.
How about with Diet Coke?
No.
Probably not the best health drink.
That probably negates any health benefits that come with any type of vitamin you take.
Well, you love hot chocolate.
It was interesting getting into just Jake Plummer's thoughts on it. And there's an article out there by Denver Post. I highly suggest you look into it. But it goes through how he's really been using it to see the health benefits post-career. He's like, I'm thinking better now. I'm doing all this. And it's not psychedelic or anything like that, because I'm not a big believer in that type of stuff. But it's actually just like mushrooms that you can, eat with anything.
Send me the article.
Yeah. And there's even a mushroom, I forget the name, it starts with a C, but it was talking about how it can even help in cancer treatment. They said, it can help with the side effects of chemo. The article's very specific. Get chemotherapy. This isn't a cure to cancer by any means, but it can help in the healing process and can especially help with the side effects of chemotherapy.
Anything that can help with the side effects of chemo. I saw what your grandfather went through when he was fighting colon cancer, and he suffered more from the chemo than he did from the cancer itself. Yeah. So if that would help, I wish we would have known it back then.
Yeah, well, I'm becoming a big believer in, Western medicine is very, very important, but there's also something to holistic side of things as well. And if we can combine them both to get better, and that's what that article was kind of getting into. And it was super interesting. So yeah, I started taking the reishi. I'm feeling better. It's giving me a lot more energy throughout the day. So it's cool stuff. Completely off topic.
We tend to do that.
But that was my thoughts on it.
Okay.
Now conspiracy theories. No. Anyways.
No, we're not going down that bunny trail.
You want to talk NFL, especially with quarterbacks here, right? Okay. You and I came up with a trade idea months ago.
Show was just starting.
It was probably our 4th or 5th episode. I think we were still in the old studio.
We were. And we were right, by the way.
And we were right. We had our little victory lap. But we had an idea where Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Either Jordan Love or Drew Lock
Get it.
Go to Seattle.
Right.
Or both go to Seattle.
Preferably.
And then Russell Wilson skips and hops all the way back to Wisconsin into Green Bay.
And from everything we've learned since that happened, since Rodgers re-signed with the Packers and announced it, the next day Denver goes and gets Russell Wilson. If Rodgers goes to Denver, Wilson would have been in Green Bay. That trade would have been made.
So the question comes, would the Packers have been better off? Would the Broncos have been better off? And would Seattle have been better off if that was the case?
So with the wide receivers Green Bay has now, I'd say no. I would feel bad for him.
But
Russell Wilson, I think, would have brought a new energy. He's been in Denver for every OTA.
Right. Well, and let's be honest. Rodgers leaves. We bring in Russell Wilson. Devante Adams isn't leaving Green Bay.
Very true.
The reason Devante Adams left Green Bay is because Aaron Rodgers doesn't know how long he's going to be staying.
And Russell Wilson and Devante Adams would have been a deadly combination.
Yeah.
I honestly think, and all of my Packer fan friends are going to think I'm crazy, but I think it would have been a better deal for both teams. I think Rodgers would have benefited from having a new look in Denver. His lifestyle certainly fits there.
Speaking of psychedelic,
yes,
with the ayahuasca,
right?
Yeah, let's not share that with the world, please.
Russell Wilson is a Wisconsin legend already. For those that forget, he played for the Badgers for a year. Loved the state. Still talks about it. My only question is,
you bring it up, I think, every other show. So
then I've got to do better and bring it up every show that Russell Wilson was a Badger. We didn't win because of the coaching, but that's another story. But I think he would have fit in very well, and he would have done exceedingly well. I don't know that his wife would have wanted to join him in Green Bay, and that may have had an effect on it.
Yeah, Sierra wasn't coming to Green Bay.
I don't see that.
You know, I got my Still Own You shirt on. I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan. I love that he's still here in Green Bay. And Aaron Rodgers loves Green Bay.
Yes, he
wants
does.
to retire a Packer.
And he will.
Awesome, and he will. He's getting very hippie, which is fair. I dig it. I loved the Con Air costume
I was
going to
say, I think he was doing more of a Con Air look. He looked just like Nicolas Cage in that picture.
He did. The ayahuasca, him and I are going, it's whatever. You do you, man. I don't care as long as you throw touchdowns.
We have to post a link so those who haven't seen it of Rodgers doing his Nicolas Cage Con Air look-alike contest.
It's great. It's amazing. You can see it right now. I love having Aaron Rodgers. Do I think the Packers would have been better off, especially when it comes more prepared for the future, had that specific trade happened? 100%.
Yeah. I think they would have been in a better shape for the next 3 to 5 years. They would have been technically gone back to back Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Yep.
Although Russell Wilson is always going to be a Seattle Seahawk.
You said quarterbacks, by the way.
Okay, okay. I catch you on one, and you're catching me on every misspoken word I say now.
Yeah, you started this.
I did. But I think it would have been better off if the Packers would have gotten Russell Wilson, kept Devante Adams, plus with the running backs that we have right now, would have been a better setup for the next 3 to 5 years.
Definitely. Because we won a Super Bowl this year, Rodgers gone.
Yeah, he's retiring.
He's done.
I think it's a big stretch to say we're going to win a Super Bowl this year.
Oh, I don't. You have a reigning 2-time MVP. We'll get to the playoffs.
No wide receivers.
We'll get to the playoffs. And that's all you have to do is get to the playoffs. Will we be the number 1 seed this year? Probably not. But you're telling me the Green Bay Packers won't be in the playoffs?
No, they'll be in the playoffs. That's all that matters. I'm not denying that because they still play in the North, which
that's all that matters.
Is a good time to probably segue into the topic for today. And that is, let's take a look at East Division. You're going to cut me off?
Before we do that, you guys let us know in the comments below what you think on the topic. We got to let our viewers get a chance to comment and let us know. Let us know below on what you think if the Packers would have been better off if Aaron Rodgers went to Denver and Russell Wilson came to Green Bay. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we drop a new video and you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it.
And we have taken a victory lap because I firmly believe that Wilson was heading to Green Bay.
That was on the cards.
It was
for Russell Wilson to go to Denver as quickly as he did.
Yes.
That was clearly on the cards to happen.
So if you disagree with us, Let us know why. But I think we were right, and we were the only ones who said that in advance. Granted,
Nailed it.
Nailed it. We did.
Nailed it. On to quarterbacks in the division. So the question comes into play, which quarterback would you say is the best in the division?
Best
and then which
pressure.
quarterback has the most pressure in each division? And it's an interesting discussion because it could be the same quarterback, but it might not be.
Mm-hmm.
It very easily could be the very opposite way. And wanting to start here with the AFC North.
Okay.
Now, this one's interesting because I don't think there's a question on who the best quarterback is.
No.
The question becomes in who has the most pressure. So you have Baltimore, you have Cincinnati, you have Cleveland, and you have Pittsburgh. Starting quarterbacks being Lamar Jackson. You have Joe Burrow. You have Jacoby Brissett. We're just going to use him for the time being until
because the other
Watson
one
comes back.
Shouldn't be in the league.
He's got 6-game suspension. I'm so upset by it. I don't even want to talk about it. And then you have Mitchell Trubisky / Kenny Pickett. Let's say Mitchell Trubisky to start because I think he's going to start the season.
He'll start the season. He's not going to finish it, but he'll start.
So who's the best quarterback in the division?
Joe Burrow.
Agreed. I don't think there's any question.
He's been to the Super Bowl.
Most exciting is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But best quarterback right now is Joe Burrow. Who has the most pressure?
In my mind, Mitch Trubisky.
Really?
And the only reason I say that, I mean, Joe Burrow's got pressure on him because he's got to come back to back. You know, but I think they are still the class of the division. Trubisky got a big contract, and now he's got a rookie behind him, number one draft pick. If he washes out and Kenny Pickett starts, say, game 9, Trubisky's done.
How can you not say it's Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson has $250 million essentially on the line.
He does. I just think that the Pittsburgh situation is more built-in pressure.
The Pittsburgh situation is going to Kenny Pickett.
Eventually.
Kenny Pickett's your starting quarterback in Pittsburgh going forward.
Eventually. That's why I said Trubisky wants to try to make it through the entire year and set him up for another season someplace else.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean,
Jackson's got a lot of pressure on him. Not arguing that.
Jackson's got a big old contract.
He does.
Waiting on him.
He's got a great coach.
He's got a great coach. He's been there for a long time. Here's the thing with Lamar Jackson. He's got to prove that he can win in the playoffs. And he's got to prove that he can do more than just run.
Well, and that's the thing. How close is he to losing the clubhouse?
Right. And the issue is they've given him no weapons at the wide receiver position.
So he has to run.
To help.
So he's almost forced into running.
He has to run, but he can swing the ball out. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to run, right? And he has no wide receivers. How long did Tom Brady not have any wide receivers? And he didn't run. Like, great quarterbacks
find a way. And Jackson's at the point of his career right now where he has to develop into a pocket passer.
He's getting to that point.
Correct.
Most exciting.
Yes.
By far. But it's the same thing we saw with Michael Vick, right? He got to that point in his career where he had to start transitioning and was making that transition before the dog thing happened.
And when he came
Lamar Jackson is getting to that point now too, where he's got to go through that same transition Michael Vick started to go to, where they're just gonna stack the box.
Vick became a very, very good pocket passer.
Yeah, he did.
And Jackson's got to prove he can do it as well.
Yes. My vote is Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
As most pressure. I don't even think it's even close. I don't even know how you can consider somebody else. He has yet to sign his big contract yet.
I'm just putting it on there because Trubisky did sign a big deal. He's got a number one sitting behind him. Let us know in the comments. Is it Lamar Jackson or is it Trubisky?
I mean, that's just it. He's got a number one sitting behind him. He's going to be replaced anyways.
It's I'm thinking just from in Mitch Trubisky's head, this is his shot. This is his only shot. He wants to be there for the next 2 to 3 years and make Pickett sit.
But he's not going to be. It's not going to happen.
What? It might happen. It did happen in Green Bay. Now, I'm not comparing Trubisky to Brett Favre by any means. Trubisky has gotten better since he left the Bears and has become a fairly serviceable NFL quarterback.
Correct.
He wants to start this year and next year for sure before Pickett can take over.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh wants that as well.
And it's a ton of pressure on a guy who washed out the first time he was a starter.
That's fair.
Granted, coaches and everything, but so that's our picks
I don't
for
think
this
you
division.
can have any more pressure than having a $250 million, possibly guaranteed contract sit in mind.
I don't think that matters that much in the NFL. Everybody's starting to get them.
All right, AFC East, we have Buffalo, Miami, New England, and New York Jets.
Well, you know who the best quarterback is.
It's Josh Allen.
It's not Mac Jones? Not Tua?
It will be Mac Jones. It
Jo-
could be Tua.
Josh Allen is by far and away the best quarterback in the division.
You have 4 possibly very good young quarterbacks sitting there. As long as the Jets don't do what the Jets do, Zach Wilson has a very good chance of becoming a great quarterback. Mac Jones will become a great quarterback. Josh Allen's already there, and Tua also has a shot to be a very good quarterback.
So who has the most pressure on him?
Tua.
Because
nobody believes in him.
Right.
I mean, you could look at it one of two ways. Either Tua has the most pressure on him in this division or the least amount of pressure in this division.
He can just go in and sling it.
Mac Jones isn't going anywhere. He's not losing his job. Josh Allen just signed a big deal. I mean, from Buffalo, he's got a lot of pressure. Nationally, I don't think the pressure's really there. He's proven what he needs to prove.
Buffalo
Zach
is always...
Wilson, I mean, either he flames out and becomes another Jets quarterback, or he saves the franchise and becomes a god. Like, it's one of two there. Tua could lose his starting job. I mean, they brought in Teddy Bridgewater, and they brought him in for a reason.
Mm-hmm. I am going to put the most pressure on Mac Jones because while he's gotten better each and every season, playing under the cheater is not easy. And he's quick. He's going to put a lot of pressure on him.
He is.
So Belichick maybe...
Hey, he's the Patriots are my Super Bowl pick this year. It hasn't changed.
Well, and that's a lot. And Mac Jones really has to take it not just one step up. He's got to take several steps up to get there because the AFC is stacked.
I mean, it's a kid that's been in this type of position in Alabama before, and so has Tua, to be fair. Mm-hmm. I just think when you're talking about losing your starting job, because if Tua gets benched this time, that's it.
He's done.
He's done. And Teddy Bridgewater is a very serviceable quarterback in the NFL. And people will in Miami will not
there's no patience.
Hesitate to put in Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater without the injury.
Oh, I think is one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now.
Well, Kirk Cousins is never in
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
He stays in Minnesota. I was nervous about Teddy Bridgewater, honestly, when they drafted him.
Yes.
Because being a Packer fan, I was like, well, they just got their quarterback.
Exactly.
He's going to be there for a long time.
Okay, so best quarterback, we agree, Josh Allen?
Josh Allen's the best quarterback as of now, which could change. It could change this year. Tua, I think, is going to step up, though. I think the most pressure's on him, but I think he's 100% going to step up. He's had this before. Remember, he supplanted, I think is the word I'm looking for, another quarterback that we're going to talk about in Jalen Hurts and won a national championship. And then had Jalen Hurts, a fan favorite, sitting behind him, where any mistake, Jalen Hurts comes back into that game, and he succeeded and brought them to another national championship.
I just don't think he's going to get that much attention. He's going to be allowed to make it or break it. I still am going to say Mac Jones because he has to take so many steps up to not only get into the playoffs, but actually make a run because Patriot fans are spoiled.
Sure.
They want to see a winner, and they're not going to be very patient. So I think, for my money, it's Mac Jones.
All right, fair enough. AFC South, the division of...
Battle of who cares?
Of interesting quarterbacks. So we have Davis Mills. We have
Matt Ryan.
We have Ryan Tannehill. And we have Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the best quarterback, hands down, is Matt Ryan in this division.
The most experienced.
The best quarterback.
At this point in time.
I mean, it's a borderline Hall of Famer. I mean, Kirk Cousins in the Hall of Fame, so Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer. But he's a borderline Hall of Famer.
You talk about me tossing something in every week. I think Kurt Warner gets mentioned by you almost every week in a derogatory way.
Not derogatory. I think he's a great quarterback. Even Kurt Warner said in his Hall of Fame speech, it's the stories that get remembered.
Anyways, Matt Ryan is a great quarterback.
Who's got the most pressure?
Well, I don't think Matt Ryan is necessarily the best quarterback anymore. but there's nobody else to pick in this division, so
I mean, it's
you got to
between
go
him
with
and
it.
Ryan Tannehill. I think it will be Trevor Lawrence at some point.
I
think Trevor Lawrence has a really good shot at becoming the best quarterback in this division.
I think so too, and I think this is the year I think you're going to see him step up because I think he's got a good coach.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and I think to a lot of people, this is Trevor Lawrence's rookie year.
Absolutely.
Like last year didn't count. He got his running back and ETN coming back this year. Last year was a mess. It doesn't count.
Last year was a cluster of epic proportions.
And he showed it in his last game that, okay, this is the guy we thought we were going to see. Right. Here we go. So this is his rookie year.
So there's no pressure on him.
Zero pressure.
Just go and play.
Yep. Davis Mills has zero pressure.
It's coming down to Ryan or Tannehill. And they both had the
Ryan or Tannehill?
No, Ryan Tannehill or Matt Ryan.
It works, actually. Ryan or Tannehill. It does work.
Okay.
Well done.
Thank you. I didn't even realize it worked, but it did.
Yeah, but don't admit it. Just go with it.
Yeah, okay, fine. Pressure is on both of those guys for the same reasons and in the same amounts because they both have to step up and do something at the last stages of their career.
They do. I think more pressure is 100% on Ryan Tannehill. Ryan or Tannehill, yes. Ryan Tannehill, the Titans quarterback. Jesus. Because he did sign a big contract when people had questioned it before. Really didn't show up last year the way people thought he would.
But Matt Ryan's coming into a really good situation.
He is, but he's already getting a lot of praise. More than Carson Wentz did coming in. He's getting a lot of praise. Matt Ryan, don't forget, took a team to a Super Bowl, right? Like this is a guy who is right now remembered for one of the worst blow-ups in Super Bowl history. The only overtime Super Bowl. I feel bad for the guy in that one. Don't go conservative. But I think he's hungry. He is coming into a very good team. He's very hungry to win. I think he's going to show up. I think the Colts are my pick for the division, and it's not even close.
I think it's the same quarterback is the answer to both of these questions. It's Matt Ryan is the best, and he's got the most pressure on him.
I would say Ryan Tannehill has the most pressure. But at the same time, I can see why you're saying Matt Ryan, because this is really his chance to cement himself as a Hall of Fame quarterback. This is really his chance to prove, hey, I'm still here, I'm still alive. Ryan Tannehill just goes off and becomes a backup quarterback.
And the Colts have the better team.
The Colts have the better team.
They actually can go and do some damage.
The Titans, don't sleep on. Don't forget, they were a #1 seed last year.
Your point. Having Ryan Tannehill is like having...
Ryan or Tannehill.
No, having Tannehill. It's like the Ravens back when they won the Super Bowl with... His name always escapes me. Trent Dilfer.
A former first overall pick.
And he won a Super Bowl, but he never gets credit for being anything but...
He did what he had to do.
He's a game manager. They had a great defense. Ryan Tannehill is the same kind of quarterback. He manages a game. He can make a throw when he needs to.
I want my quarterback to manage a game. I don't think that's a derogatory term. I just really don't.
I want him to be able to manage the game, but also make some plays when you need him.
Yeah, and he can. We'll see what happens with that one. I'm saying Ryan or Tannehill. I think Tannehill has the most pressure. Matt Ryan's the best in the division, but I can also see your argument that Matt Ryan is both.
Okay. So what does that leave us with?
AFC West. To finish off the AFC, what a division for quarterbacks. You have Denver, Kansas City, the Raiders, and the Chargers.
Is this the best division with quarterbacks ever in the NFL?
Probably. I mean, it depends what you think of Justin Herbert.
Well, he's right up there. I mean, he's in these guys' league. It's not like there's a huge drop-off. Right.
I mean, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, 2 future Hall of Famers. David Carr, Derek Carr. You know, I was actually, you could hear me stutter in my head because I was literally thinking Derek or David, and I got it wrong anyways.
David was what should have been.
Yeah. Derek Carr, sorry. And then you have Justin Herbert in here as well, both who could be pretty amazing quarterbacks. I mean, Derek Carr, really, this is his year to prove it.
This is his year.
And I think that kind of answers my question on who has the most pressure.
Mine too.
Best quarterback's Patrick Mahomes. I don't think it's even close. Best quarterback is Patrick Mahomes.
You've got a Super Bowl winner and a future Hall of Famer in Russell Wilson.
You have a Super Bowl winner and a future Hall of Famer in Patrick Mahomes.
I think it's a push between Wilson and Mahomes.
Sure, you can think that.
Mahomes is younger.
And you can be wrong.
No. Russell Wilson is an all-time great quarterback.
And this has nothing to do with Russell Wilson being a Badger.
Not a thing.
Of course.
Not a thing. He was the best quarterback. He got drafted in the 3rd round and ended up being the best quarterback in that draft, and it's not even close.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes fell to 11 and became the best quarterback in that draft.
Well, I think it's a push between Wilson and Mahomes.
Yeah, because you're a homer.
I'm not a homer.
Patrick Mahomes best quarterback in that division.
No.
Wilson's great.
He is great.
It's 1-1A, but the 1 is Patrick Mahomes. So the question becomes into then who has the most pressure. I don't think it's Patrick Mahomes. What else does he have to prove? He just needs to keep winning.
It's either Carr or Wilson.
Russell Wilson, this is his rookie season in the offense.
But Denver's got a really, really, really good team.
They got a really good team, but everybody knows he's a great quarterback. Like he'll figure it
I
out.
have to listen to you talk.
I said 1-1A.
Uh-huh.
Homer, listen.
Homer.
Most pressure by far is
you know
Derek
that Wilson
Carr.
played for the Badgers the one
Yeah,
time?
I did. I heard that somewhere. I can't remember where I heard it though. I'll have to.
I think Derek Carr has the most pressure on him.
Derek Carr 100% has the most pressure on him.
He's expected to do something this year.
He needs to do something this year. If he doesn't, he will no longer be the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders. It is time for them to move on.
How would you? Devante Adams will not be a happy guy if that happens.
He doesn't have to be, but if he doesn't put up massive MVP-like numbers this year, then he should not be the quarterback of that team.
In that division, don't forget, he's going to be playing 8 of his
He's got to show up.
Games. He's got to show up.
Herbert's going to have a lot of pressure too. Really had a not great year last year. He's got to come back. But with you getting Devante Adams, you getting to keep Waller on top of that, it's time. They've given you everything now that you need to succeed.
We're going to have a show where we pick our predictions for records this year.
Oh, for sure. For sure. We 100% are, but that's
going to be a tough for that. That's a tough division.
It is. That is our AFC picks. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it. Right, Brutus? That's right. Moving on to the NFC now.
Keep him out of this completely.
Oh, everybody loves Brutus.
No one loves Brutus.
On to the NFC, starting with our division, the NFC North that have the Green Bay Packers in it. You have the Bears, the Lions, the Packers.
Oh, my.
And the Vikings. Who's the best?
Really? Do we even have to have this conversation?
Who's got the most pressure?
I think it's one and the same guy. Although Kirk Cousins is going to have a fair amount of pressure on him this year.
Well, considering his general manager came out and basically blasted him as saying, listen, you know, he's a good quarterback. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he's a good quarterback for now.
Yeah.
You just sign him to an extension and then you go out in public and say that?
It's Minnesota.
He's either the smartest GM or the dumbest GM to ever be a GM.
Minnesota could be one of the same.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think Rodgers does because he doesn't have the weapons he's had in the past. He had the best receiver in all of football for the last several years.
And a big old contract.
A huge contract. It's his team. He's got to figure this out, and he's got to show up in the playoffs finally.
He does.
He has.
I think he has no pressure on the regular season because he's going to find a way to win. He'll win some ugly games, but he'll win them. And if it takes him drinking ayahuasca every off day, I don't care. Like, if that gets to your mental space, like, you do you, man. Just make sure you bring the intensity onto the field.
Green Bay will get to 10 or 11 wins just because of Rodgers.
Yeah, 100%. They'll be a playoff team. They'll win this division. Most pressure, though, it's not Justin Fields.
No.
Again, rookie season. New coach, bad rookie year, talk about no weapons.
I gave you my pick.
You got Jared Goff.
Who the Lions, not the Lightning. The Lions are going to be much better this year and in playoff contention.
They 100% are. I mean, you picked them to go to the playoffs, which means they're going to win 3 games because we do a terrible job at picking things, as we've learned. Our records are bad. It is our curse.
We are going to do a joint pool this year.
We have a listener who is a Lions fan who has done a seance, by the way, around his Lions helmet, begging the football gods to forgive you for picking the Lions. so they actually win.
Hey,
Aaron Rodgers does have. Go ahead.
The Lions could win the division this year.
You just jinxed it.
I
They're winning 2 games. It's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers, a lot of pressure. I think it's Kirk Cousins. He's going to go from either being a starting quarterback to being a backup quarterback at this point.
This is his year.
They got a good team. You got one of the best wide receivers in the game in Justin Jefferson. You have a good running game. You got a good defense. You got to win. If you're the Vikings, you have to find a way to beat the Packers. I mean, you just have to.
But Green Bay's got better running backs. They've got a much better defense.
Green Bay's going to win the division. But you need to get a wild card spot at this point if you're the Vikings. And you have to win 1 out of the 2 games versus Green Bay. You cannot let them win both again. You just can't.
We'll see as the season plays out.
Yeah, trust me. I hope they do. I hope they lose every game.
Who are you taking? Cousins?
Kirk Cousins has the most pressure. Okay. Kirk Cousins definitely has the most pressure.
I think it's Rodgers.
Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the division.
Right. Okay.
Moving on to the NFC East. This is where it gets interesting when it comes to pressure because you have the Cowboys, the Giants, the Eagles, and the Commanders here.
The Washington football team has Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, and Dak Prescott. You could say that any one of these quarterbacks in a different division would have the most pressure on them.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting because you're in a division that hasn't been great, hasn't had a lot of reason to not be great, and
nobody shows up.
Nobody shows up. You can't say it's coaching. Mike McCarthy's a Super Bowl winning coach. Ron Rivera is a great coach. I think the Eagles coach is solid. I don't know about the Giants.
This is McCarthy's last year in Dallas.
Yeah, they're going to be moving on to Sean Payton.
If not, Sean Payton's going to be in Miami.
I don't know. They just lost a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, true. They did.
There's why Tua will be the quarterback next year. They don't have a first-round draft pick to replace him. 100% was tampering, by the way. I don't even think the Dolphins argued. They're like, yeah, that's fair. 1 draft pick, cool.
Dolphins ownership not covered with glory today.
That was really bad.
So who's the best quarterback in the division?
It's Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I don't even think you could argue Jalen Hurts. I wouldn't. I think he's very overrated. But it's Dak Prescott in my opinion.
Mine as well. He is.
The question is now, who has the most pressure? Because let me run through this here. This is it for Daniel Jones. Mm-hmm. Either he shows up or he becomes a career backup or out of the league at this point. He has to win this year. You have Carson Wentz, who again is in a position where he's either going to be a career backup going forward, or he's actually going to show up and play some football again. You have Jalen Hurts, who they have just spent a lot of money to build up that team around him to give him a chance to win. And you have Dak Prescott that's running out of excuses.
My pick is Dak Prescott.
Prescott.
Dak Prescott, because he's had the talent for years, and yet he doesn't get them past the first round or even into the playoffs.
You did Tony Romo.
I know. But we're talking about the Cowboys of today. You've got Mike McCarthy, as you said, a Super Bowl winning quarterback or head coach. I just think Prescott's got to show up this year, or he's not going to have much more time in Dallas.
I think he'll get a pass. I think more pressure in Dallas is on Mike McCarthy as the coach than it is on Dak Prescott.
I think they're both.
I think the pressure lies squarely on him. If you're going into next year and you still have and you switch coaches, Dallas fans are going to look at Dak Prescott and say, "All right, 1 more year."
Sure, if Sean Payton comes in and he has a chance to work with Prescott, yes, he'll get another year. But I think he's got a ton of pressure on because he wants to prove that he's a winner and a winner right now.
He does. He's got a big old contract under his name. I think the biggest pressure is Jalen Hurts. He's another quarterback that's fighting for a contract extension and really fighting for a starting job in the NFL. More so than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's fighting for a big old contract, but you're talking about a top 10 quarterback. Lamar Jackson's going to be a starter in this league. It's just a matter of how much he gets paid. Jalen Hurts may not be. I personally think he's very overrated and needs to take that next step this year to prove that he should be a starter in this league.
It is just such a bad division. I mean, Carson Wentz, this is his last stop.
But look at, in a snap, divisions can become better. Look at the AFC West. Sure. We were saying the same thing 3 years ago. I mean, do I think Daniel Jones is going to be quarterback of the future? No. I think that was a mistake. I think he's proven it at this point. Jalen Hurts could be hit or miss. Carson Wentz, I think, is going to be terrible this year. personally.
Dak Prescott's got to prove that he is as good as
So you say Dak.
I do.
I say Jalen Hurts. Again, you let us know in the comments below while we move on to the NFC South here. Now, this is a fun division. There's no question who the best quarterback in this division is.
Absolutely. Jameis Winston.
That's right. You have Jameis Winston. You have Baker - Sam Darnold in Carolina. You have Marcus Mariota and you have Tom Brady. There's no pressure on Tom Brady. Just zero. Go out and win games. There's zero pressure on Marcus Mariota.
I think this is Brady's
Go win
last year.
games. Yeah,
I think
probably.
I just think he's at that point. He has not played really well. He was well enough to beat Green Bay in the playoffs, but he's got them their Super Bowl. He's done what he went there to do.
You have Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston trying to prove that they can be starters in this league. Jameis Winston just needs to go out and play. I don't think there's a lot of pressure there. Marcus Mariota's the same way.
Brady's still the best quarterback in the division.
Oh, it's not even close. Brady's the best quarterback in the division.
Just want to make sure we're on the same page.
With one leg.
Yes.
I mean, he's the best quarterback in this division. My opinion, most pressure is on the Darnold-Baker situation. Darnold right now, because if Darnold doesn't win the starting job, he's officially a backup the rest of his career.
Yeah, this is his last shot.
Baker, I think, could be a backup here and still get a chance to start somewhere. But if Baker does get this chance to start, he's got to show up.
I think the most pressure is on Winston. He's got to show up and prove he's a starting quarterback in this league. He's taken a couple steps forward, but he's always been that guy that's kind of been tagged with.
Well, he's 30 touchdowns, but then he'll also throw 30 interceptions.
Exactly.
That's the type of guy that he is.
I think now is the year he's got to prove that he's going to be here for a while. But it's beyond that. Can he lead a franchise?
That is the question.
And Winston's never proven that.
No, I think Winston's going to become that Teddy Bridgewater, that Ryan Fitzpatrick, that Josh McCown.
He's got the off-field troubles, though, that have kind of followed him wherever he's been. He hasn't been the last.
Though.
Not well.
That's something that's followed him from the time
grown
he
out
was
of
drafted.
It. He's grown out of it.
He had one bad situation when he was drafted that turned out to not even be true, by the way.
He also
that's followed him his entire career.
He had other situations at Florida State.
Well, and then he was an immature kid, obviously in Florida State. He had the crab legs that I don't think was his fault. Somebody just handed it to him and he left.
I'm just saying he's got to step up and prove. Look, I'm the mature guy.
He's juicy.
I'm ready.
Juice. He's juicy juice.
What the heck does that mean?
You never heard him say that? When he was drafted by Tampa Bay in his press conference, he said, "Listen, man, I'm juicy juice." And then he went like this and ate his W. He's a weird dude, man. I'm all for it. I love it.
Okay.
As a weird person myself, I am all for the weirdness of Jameis Winston.
Okay.
So you're saying Jameis?
I think so. I don't think there's pressure on Mariota because I just don't.
No, I think it's a Carolina situation. Both quarterbacks have pressure coming on.
They're just not expected to be a good team. The Saints still have a chance to be a decent team.
They could.
Okay. Next.
The last division we have to talk about is the NFC West. You have the Cardinals, you have the Rams, you have the 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. Who's the best quarterback?
Super Bowl winner, Matthew Stafford.
I think it's Matthew Stafford as well.
I mean, he proved last year what happens when you give him a great team around him.
Yeah, he's going to win.
Yeah.
Which also means there is no longer any pressure on Matthew Stafford the rest of his career.
He's a Hall of Famer at this point.
Yeah, no pressure on Matthew Stafford. Drew Lock has pressure because he needs to prove that he can start in this league, but it's not. Nobody's expecting anything from him.
No. Trey Lance has got pressure, but not really a lot of pressure.
I think you and I are about to say the same answer.
There's only one guy here with a lot of pressure because we don't even know if he studies his playbook.
Well, and here's the thing. We saved the NFC West till the last for a reason, because this is the quarterback, in my opinion, that has the most pressure on him
in football
than any quarterback that possibly ever existed in this game.
Probably. Because your ownership is looking at you and going, we don't even think you study. We think you're a junior high school kid that we have to babysit.
Right. Listen, you took that out of the contract, obviously, because you didn't want to embarrass your quarterback. Too late.
Too late.
It leaked. There's a reason you put that in the contract, in the quarterback contract. There's a reason you put that in the contract. There's something. You don't just put that in a contract. There's a reason it was there.
Either the ownership doesn't think he's smart.
That's not the case.
Isn't it?
I think the question is he lazy?
I think it's both questions. I don't think they think he's a smart guy, and I don't think they think he studies.
They don't draft number 1 overall if they don't think he's a smart guy. You just don't.
Raw talent, sure you do.
For him coming out and saying, "Listen, I was drafted first in 2 different leagues," yeah, he is an unbelievably talented individual.
Oh my God, he's
unbelievably talented.
probably
He obviously
since Elway.
works hard and has worked hard. You don't win the Heisman and get drafted like that unless you work hard. The question is, you've made it to the league now, and you've gotten your big contract.
And you
Obviously,
gotta
the
prove it.
ownership is worried that he's going to back off of this. And I do think in the back of their mind, in the ownership's mind at least, baseball's a real option for him still.
Possibly. Look, Arizona is not the best ownership group that's ever been around. I mean, I've never been impressed by their ownership. I think they treated him really unfairly.
Yes.
I think the leak came from their side because the agent has no reason to leak that. Matter of fact,
Correct.
if the agent did it, he should be fired.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for Murray. I think he's an outstanding quarterback, top 7, 8, possibly talent-wise in the league.
No.
No, I think you're underrating him.
You didn't have him in your top 10 either.
I know, but I can change.
You can.
I think sheer talent-wise, is he right now? No, but with what he can do, he's got the possibility to be that good. And your ownership is just going, yeah, we're going to be done with you in a couple of years.
Yeah. I think he definitely has the most pressure. He has to show up. He has a team built around him. He's going to be without DeAndre Hopkins for the first few games due to PEDs. That's going to hurt him. I think the height situation at 5'10", I mean, at some point you are too short to play quarterback in the NFL. And I think being 2 inches taller than me is too short to play in the NFL. I mean, you have Russell Wilson, who's 5'11" and change.
Yeah, he's not.
You had Drew Brees, who was 6 feet even. He's my height.
But what could both of those guys do? They can play in the pocket, yet they can roll out and they make throws on the run.
Doug Flutie had to jump over an offensive lineman to be able to see, who was about the same height as Kyler Murray.
I thought Flutie was like 5'9".
I don't know.
But Flutie was, there's not much height there. But Kyler Murray's got to step up, and he's got to find a way to be the leader of the team. More important, as important as his talent on the field, he's got to be able to step up now and lead his team and get everybody to rally around him.
5'10". Exact same height as Kyler Murray.
Flutie was 5'10"?
5'10".
He's not anymore.
Well, he's old. Still an awesome drop kick. But it's the same height. And Doug Flutie did have trouble. Like, he led the Bills to the playoffs. He should have been the starting quarterback of that playoff game. It's by far the biggest coaching mistake of all time.
He wasn't even allowed to play in the NFL because of his height.
Right.
He had to go to Canada for a few years.
He would have been a first overall pick, obviously, in today's game. I just think the height is a difference. And you see that with Kyler Murray. He has to roll out to make those deep passes, or he can't see where he's throwing the ball.
No argument. And if he can do it, if you design the offense around him, his legs are still a weapon.
They are.
But he's got to get the team behind him. And if they rally behind him, are they going to win the division?
And you have some strong leaders on that team that you really do have to overshadow. You have J.J. Watt on that team, who's a strong leader. You have DeAndre Hopkins on that team, who's a strong leader. By the way, both who are on the same team together being strong leaders. And you have to step up and be the bigger leader than them.
It's your team.
This is your team. You just got paid for this to be your team. You got embarrassed by your team.
Probably by your owner.
Probably. You just got embarrassed, and now you need to go into your locker room and step it up. Listen, I hope every single quarterback becomes a Hall of Famer. I really do. I hope Kyler Murray becomes a Hall of Famer, and I hope I'm wrong. I just don't think I am. This is my opinion.
Well, I think the most pressure is on him, certainly.
Hands down, the most pressure is on him. Nobody's been embarrassed like that by their own team than Kyler Murray has. And for him to show up, great. But at the same time, dude, you literally took everything Cardinal off of your social media to make a point. Like, I think that this is the ownership getting back and saying, you want to embarrass us like that? Have fun with this one.
I still think they can be a playoff team because I just don't have a lot of faith in Trey Lance.
Trey Lance has a lot of pressure too. Again, another quarterback that I think if he's in another one of these divisions could be the most pressure because Jimmy Garoppolo, people give Garoppolo a lot of flack, but all he does is take teams to the playoffs. That's all he does.
Mm-hmm.
He's either hurt or he's in the playoffs, and he's winning playoff games.
People forget that Garoppolo stepped in when Tom Brady got hurt and won like 11 or 12 games.
No, that was Matt Castle.
Oh, you're right.
That was Matt Castle.
God, sorry. No.
Who then went to the Chiefs and was not very good.
My bad.
Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback that Bill Belichick wanted to move on to. Remember, he wanted to trade Tom Brady. That became a whole thing. Jimmy Garoppolo is a very good quarterback. Very good quarterback. And he's taken a lot of teams to playoff games. Yes, you should be embarrassed.
I feel very stupid right now because back I could see. I'm sorry. I screwed up.
Both good-looking guys. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is probably the greatest looking guy to ever play football. I mean, dude looks like Aladdin. Let's be honest. I mean, he's a Disney prince. It's just how it is.
Okay.
We'll see where he ends up in this whole shuffle of situation.
He can't stay in San Francisco.
No, they're moving on. They're looking for trades. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think he suits up this year. I think he just stays injured, quote unquote. We'll see where he goes. I wouldn't mind him in Green Bay, honestly. I really wouldn't. Let him back up Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years and be the heir apparent.
Oh, if he was Rodgers backup for a couple of years, I mean, for once, Green Bay would have a backup they could count on.
Right. Jordan Love isn't the answer, so making a trade at that point, Jordan Love for Jimmy Garoppolo, I mean, why not?
All day, every day.
I don't mind having Jimmy Garoppolo as the heir apparent in Green Bay.
Except that, consider the two teams that are involved. I don't think there's going to be any sweetheart deals between LaFleur and Shannon.
Probably not.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, he'd officially become the best-looking person in the state of Wisconsin, probably in the Midwest.
I'm not
hands down. I mean,
I'm not going to say that about the state.
Listen, I'm willing to give up the title of best-looking person in Wisconsin to Jimmy Garoppolo if he comes.
I didn't even know you had it.
I did. It was self-appointed.
Oh, okay.
But
well, at least you know the difference between Garoppolo and Matt Castle.
I do,
Yeah.
and I only mispronounced one word today. Thou shalt not cast the first stone, sir.
I did. I did.
But I definitely think Kyler Murray has the most pressure back off of our squirrel moment here. But yeah, I do think Garoppolo could easily come to Green Bay. I could see that trade being made.
Sure.
Kyler Murray, I just don't know. I mean, you and I have agreed to disagree on this since he was drafted. I mean, when you were drafted, you from the word go said he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I said from the word go it was a mistake.
He's got the talent. I agree with you. I think he is perfectly willing. If things go south, he will walk away and go to baseball.
Yeah, especially if Oakland moves to Vegas.
Yeah.
He's gone.
I don't know if that'll happen. I mean,
I just mean in general, it's more of an incentive to go if the team's in Vegas playing in a new stadium than it is playing in Oakland, especially if this is the ownership relationship that he has.
He's got a 3-year window.
Yeah.
To make a move from football to baseball.
He does. Yeah, once he gets to 27, that's it.
He'll be done.
You can't make that move anymore. But it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you think that Kyler Murray has the most pressure on him of any quarterback in the NFL this year. If you agree with our picks on who has the most pressure, if you agree with me that Jimmy Garoppolo being traded to Green Bay would instantly make him the best-looking person in the entire state of Wisconsin, let us know in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we make a new video. And you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it. Isn't that right, Brutus? Thanks, buddy.
Wow.
That was fun. Before we head
It's not
out...
gonna become a trend, is it?
Oh, it might be. I like voices.
You do.
I mean, I hear them in my head. I might as well share the sounds that they make with the rest of the world. Yeah, there's some fun conversations that happen up there. What can I say? Anyway, moving on. That's conversation for a therapist. I think we've had a fun show today. Before we head out, any last words?
Big congratulations to all of the Football Hall of Famers, but specifically the man who invented the Lambeau Leap, Leroy Butler, finally going into the Hall of Fame where he belongs.
I didn't think the day would ever come.
I didn't either.
I'm happy it did. You and I got to do the Lambeau Leap outside of Green Bay when we went to the stockholder
Mine
meeting.
was more like the Lambeau Crawl.
Pretty sad.
It was bad.
And it was only like a foot tall.
Have a hip resurfacing and the back surgeries I have, and then try to jump. And
Yep. I did learn in Green Bay, it's a tradition. So there's a giant Curly Lambeau statue where he's pointing like this. Look it up. He has his finger out. And apparently it's a tradition for kids to go up and get their picture where it looks like they're pulling his finger.
Yes.
Which is officially one of my all-time favorite traditions.
And it would only happen in Green Bay.
That probably happens in a lot of places, to be fair.
No.
Most people enjoy fart humor. I mean, it's a kind of universal kid thing.
And we
Being
certainly
a
qualify.
child brain myself, I enjoy the humor.
Very
Just
true.
saying. Just saying. I congratulate all the Football Hall of Famers. I'm not going to single anybody out because, I care about everybody and want everybody to be able to celebrate equally. But that's just me. Maybe it's a generational thing. Maybe I just care about people more. Who knows? I mean, it could be a number of different things.
Really? Wow.
Big congratulations to our Green Bay Packer, which puts us, one away from beating the Bears and
Two
Hall
away.
of Famers? 2 away?
Anyway, they've got 30. We have 28. And that will hopefully change.
We got 1 on the docket in Aaron Rodgers, probably 2 on the docket.
Sterling Sharp.
Sterling Sharp could go in. That may put 3 on the docket because I got to imagine Devante Adams is going to go in. Mike Holmgren won't go in the Hall of Fame, I don't think.
Oh, I do.
Coaches don't count, though, in that. It's only players.
Vince Lombardi count.
No, not in the player count. Not in that count.
Not in the player count, but I hit. We better end this show.
We need to end the show because you're about to break all our equipment here. That was a fun conversation. Thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We love spending this time with you.
By the way, I do want to thank everybody who's watched because we've actually become monetized into YouTube. We are really in the algorithm.
Yeah, 1,600 subscribers, which is 6 months ago when we started this show. This was just something for fun. Never thought in a million years we'd have 1,600 subscribers and be getting the viewers that we are.
Continuing to grow. So thank you so much for that. All seriousness, no joking around. Can't thank you enough. The growth of this show has been nothing short of amazing in my mind.
Put the Diet Coke down. You are freaking me out right now.
It's down. Say goodbye.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. This has been Sports Talk with Dad.
Bye, everybody.